Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I'm so thrilled that you can join us today. My name's Matt, and I'm here representing Scheepjes and de Bont. Scheepjes is a great family-run company that has been running for 165 years. We've just celebrated that milestone birthday very recently. Now, Scheepjes is a company built on family values and community, and part of our family is the very talented blogger Martin up north, who is joining us today. I'm so thrilled to have you here today, Martin. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Matt. Great to see you again.
Martin, for everyone that's joining us today, I wondered if you could just kind of explain a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you're known for.
Yes, of course. My name is Martin. I'm 43 years old. I live in Sweden. I'm born and raised in Vienna in Austria, and I moved to Sweden 10 years ago. And that's also where my crafting interest started, because I moved to a very, very small town from the big city of Vienna to a very, very small town in the countryside. And there wasn't much to do, but there was a really, really nice yarn shop. And so I decided that this should be my new hobby. And so I started to craft. And after that, we moved a little around in Sweden, and I'm the father of two wonderful daughters, and one is 7 years old and the other is 4 years old, and they keep me busy as well. I have to say that.
I bet they do.
yes, they are very, very active, and we are doing a lot together.
Oh, lovely. So your craft that you speak of, you mentioned you went to your local yarn shop. What is your craft exactly?
I mostly crochet.
Crochet?
Yes. I was very fascinated by this northern knitting patterns in the very beginning, and that was the main point to do this mittens, this Nordic mittens, which are very famous in the north of Sweden.
Yeah,
this was the first eye catcher for me. But then I switched to crochet, and this was I can talk about this for hours, but this was then I switched to crochet because it was a little bit easier, and there's a story behind this as well. And then switched back to a little knitting and mostly crochet. And when we're talking about crochet, it's mostly mosaic crochet, because that's the thing where you can combine colors and do this patterns. I really, really love.
Fantastic. So you picked up the kind of knitting needles and the crochet hooks. How did you go about learning initially? Did you learn from books, from maybe family members, or how did you go about learning?
The first contact with knitting was like a typical gathering at a friend's house, and the girls were crafting and the boys were playing PlayStation, and after a while I just didn't think that was cool to play FIFA. What was it, 16 I think, anymore. And one of the girls showed me, Martin, do you want to know how to knit? And I think that's fabulous. I always wanted to learn this. And she said, "Man, take the knitting needles and try to do it." And that was the start. And then I came to the yarn shop and bought a lot of yarn and needles for my own, and started to knit very, very easy things like scarves and things, like very, very basic things. And then I had an apprenticeship at an elderly home.
Okay. And
during my lunch breaks, I knitted. And in this elderly home, especially the women, older women, they had really, really good knowledge and about technique and about colors and about knitting, because this is an old tradition to craft in the north of Sweden. And during one lunch break, one of these wonderful women came to me and said and laughed out loud. And first of all, I thought she was laughing at me because I'm a man who is knitting, and this is not very, very common.
Yes.
But then she said, "Martin, you will never be a good knitter." And I said, "I manage. I think it's okay." Try crochet. This is your craft. Crochet is your craft. It's very, very obvious for me. And how can you know that? But then she said, if you want to, we can sit in the sofa and I will show you how it's done. And she was really, really amazing. She showed me all the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And she was a very, very, very hard teacher in some kind of way. But this was really good for me, because she showed me how to do the single crochet.
Okay.
I managed my first one. I was, now I know how it's done. She said, no, Martin, you don't know nothing. You don't know anything. Now you do 10,000 of single crochet, and then you can say you know how it's done, and then I will show you the double crochet.
So she was really kind of teaching you how to master your skill. And
yes.
Yes. Wow, that's fantastic. What can I ask? What do you have to say to this lady now who said you were maybe not into a great knitter, because you are a fantastic knitter as well?
Because I think that it's much easier from the very start to crochet. Knitting needs a little more time.
Yes,
and I think she referred to, because I have a very, very strong right side. I always, when I played football, I had a very good right leg, but my left leg was really, really ridiculous. And I think that may be the point, that she noticed that my right body side is stronger than the other side. And you have to be more balanced. Maybe that's the thing. But I think she was right. Crochet is still my number. That's number
fantastic.
One.
I love that. So crochet, you mentioned, is your number one craft. Mm-hmm. Could you just kind of explain to the people watching today what kind of things are you known for with your crochet? Because I know personally what you do, and I know there's great examples. For example, the kind of work that is behind you, this kind of colorful and often very geometric work. Could you explain a little bit about your style?
No, I'm not so sure about my style. I really like to make blankets.
Yeah,
this is like, I like to do big things. That's my thing. There are a few factors why I like this, because it's very often it's kind of repetitive. So you can take your crochet work with you to work, or when you're watching TV, you can finish some blankets and things like that, because you get used to the pattern. Yeah. You learn the pattern, and then you can do it from your mind. So that may be the main part, and this is why I create this some symmetrical, technical, geometrical stuff, because it follows a natural pattern.
Okay,
yes.
So the patterns that you come up with, do you plan that as you're coming up with your designs and stuff? Do you plan that this is something that I want to repeat throughout the whole project and stuff? Do you plan that, or it just happens?
Often I plan it. Often I have an idea. Yeah. I have an idea which is influenced by the nature around me, or the people I'm talking with. I think that's mainly the biggest inspiration are people. When you talk to people, when you discuss topics, when you talk about craft, it can be online, it can be in person, in yarn shops, for example. And then you develop an idea, and then often I really like this repetitive style, this main motive that is repeated.
Yeah. So along with that kind of repetition in the design, I know that also your color work, the colors you choose and you combine, always work amazingly. Do you have, is there inspiration for your color work, or you just pick up 2 balls of yarn and decide, does that go? Or
I'm as I said, when I first started to craft, the first thing was I went to the yarn shop and bought a lot of yarn, many colors, because I need to be surrounded by these colors to really check if is this going together or not. And I'm happy to have a really great stash at home to can combine colors, and if it's not working, it's not working. Fact is that I'm really colorblind.
Are you really?
This is not very known,
I didn't know that.
Yes, this is not very known, but I'm really colorblind, and and this is also, most people don't know what color blindness is all about. It's not like I don't see color; I see a lot of colors. Yeah. but sometimes I mix up red with green, some shades of violet and blue. But I think that may be a good point, because I always choose very high contrasted colors.
Yeah.
Because that's very clear for me.
Okay.
And then my girls like to choose colors as well, and kids, they are very into strong colors, very strong colors.
Yeah.
And then of course I try to mix them up in a good way. But often fantastic. I don't know how your colors work with my color work. What your perception is of my colors.
Well, it's such an individual thing, though, isn't it? I know. Speaking for myself, I'm really drawn to things like pinks and turquoise, and then you've got your colors you like. So of course, I guess the great thing about the craft is, well, that you could design something in your colors. Mm. And then someone else could create your pattern in their colors and make it, that's kind of the great thing about the craft, I guess.
And I think that's also a big plus in the community now with social media, that you can look at others' work or others' combination of colors. That's a big inspiration. I just saw a picture of colors. I would never ever have in mind to combine it. It was just amazing. It was just turning out really amazing, and that's a big inspiration for me.
That's fantastic. I love that. Just before, I really want to go into this kind of tap into what inspires you, but I do have to ask, because you've mentioned them, your children, what do they think of your crochet and design work?
They are very active. They're very they need a lot of attention, and they need a lot of being outside, running around, climbing trees, things like that. Both are a little too young for starting to craft. Yeah, the big one is doing a little cross stitch and things like that. And I'm not forcing them, because I think you have to find your own path in life. They think it's very interesting.
Yeah, lovely.
A really funny example is my daughter Lotta. She has got a Nordic sweater, and these Nordic sweaters, they are not very comfy, because it's very tough yarn.
Okay.
And she refuses to wear it, because it's not very nice to wear on the body. But it's really beautiful, and I know that she's taking out this sweater when we expect friends to come over. And this is my papa has done this sweater. He has knitted this sweater, and I know she's very proud of this. Of course, she gets a lot of compliments for that.
I bet you're quite well known, huh? In your area for the work you do.
It's very common as well that people are crafting here.
Yeah,
and I think it's a good thing that you find something you love and spend your time with. I made a few hats, a few cozy hats for classmates of my daughters, and this was really a good thing with some fluffy the Scheepjes what's it called, fairy tales. Fairy tales. This was really a funny thing, because all the school kids were wearing the same hat.
That's so nice. It's really lovely. You have fantastic photography, right? Some of your pictures on Instagram, and I know that because we're doing stuff virtually right now, we also have the opportunity to share some of that just for the people watching today. You speak of the Northern Lights. So Martin, you mentioned that you're massively inspired by your environment, by the colors, by the animals. Would you mind to kind of share a little more on that front?
That's the main inspiration I have
Yeah.
here in the place I live, and I think it's most about photography to take pictures of the uncontrollable, because the northern lights, they, as I said, they show up when they want to show up. It's never predictable. There are apps that try to predict the northern lights, but it's a lot about, is it cloudy, is it not cloudy, what kind of temperature does it have, is there a solar storm or is there no solar storm, which season do we have? So, and I think that's the opposite to my crafting work, because at my crafting work I try to be as controlled as possible to get this neatness in my stitches. And in nature, it's fairly controllable.
Yeah.
To the animals around here, to the birds, the great grey owl. It's just an amazing bird, which I had the opportunity to take pictures of, or the moose, the deers.
How big is this moose? Because I've seen the pictures. Is it like taller than you?
Yes, it's like a horse.
Wow.
A little bigger than
it looks massive.
They're not as big as the Canada moose. They're slightly smaller. And it has I'm like a nerd. If I see something, I know everything about it, and it has something to do with the forest or the woods, because the woods and forests in Sweden are much tighter than the woods in Canada, so they can't grow as big as they do in Canada.
Oh, I see. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Like natural kind of evolution there. Yeah, can't be as big because of the space.
Mm-hmm. But
wow.
The moose are really fantastic animals. I call them the gentle giants, because they're moving. They can move very, very fast, and they can also be aggressive. But most of the time, if you have the opportunity to look at the moose in its natural habitat, it's like they're so gentle in the way they're moving.
Now, you mentioned just earlier when we were talking off camera that the moose came up to your porch.
Yes, they can come pretty close.
Wow!
I've taken some pictures from the bathroom window. And they're not very good quality, because the bathroom window can be a little bit dirty as well. But they come really close.
That's
and this was also our goal when we built this house in the woods, to be as environment friendly as possible, to not scare this wonderful animals away.
It just sounds amazing. It really does. It sounds like you're in an absolute wonderland. What other animals do you tend to see around? Because I know you see all sorts.
There are foxes, there are deers, there are the great grey owl, a lot of birds, and the great grey owl is my favorite bird, because it's really a big bird. and they are not afraid of anything. So for a photographer like me, you can get pretty close, because they're not afraid of you. Yeah, they don't have a natural enemy.
Wow!
You don't distract them as other animals which are running away. This bird is basically sitting where it sits.
Wow! It just looks absolutely spectacular. It really does.
They're really amazing animals.
Wow!
They can sit on near the road as well when I'm walking, when I'm driving to my work. They're just sitting there. They don't care about you or your cars or what you're doing. They're doing their thing. That's quite of inspirational as well.
Yeah, I also know that as well as your great animal photography and the Northern Lights, one of my particular favorites that I've seen on your blog and also on Instagram are the pictures of the bubbles. Would you mind to just explain about these? Because they are just phenomenal with the lights and the...
This is also a very special thing for me, because it can get very, very cold here in the north of Sweden, in the middle north of Sweden. We have up to -25, -30 degrees.
Oh, wow.
With certain periods of the year, and you basically want to stay inside. But then I read in a comic strip, I read that the soap bubbles are not only freezing when you place them on the ground, but they are freezing when it's less than 10 degrees Celsius. And they are freezing while in the air. And then I thought, oh, that would be great pictures to take. And then I tried to figure out what's the best temperature, what's the best mixture, what's the best condition to take pictures of the flying, freezing soap bubbles. And this is also a never-ending story because you can't control them. The slightest wind will blow them away. It can be perfect condition, but when the wind is blowing, it's ridiculous. It's not possible. Or if the air pressure is too much, they're going down to the ground as soon as you blow up them. So you have to have this perfect day. The sun has to be out. It has to be cold. It has to be no winds. And then it might be working. So this uncontrollable thing I really like in my photography, because it's the same with the moose and the animals and the great crowd. They're appearing if they want to. Yeah. They don't reveal themselves if they don't want to. And you have about, sometimes you have an hour with an owl, and sometimes you don't see them for 1 year. So, and this is really spontaneous, and this is I really like this.
I mean, it's really phenomenal. It really is. My personal favorite was one I saw just the other day. It was of one of the soap bubbles that had frozen, but it had popped. It just started to break, and you managed to catch that just in the right moment.
And this was really a super lucky shot. This is not predictable. This is just happening, and I have about 1,000 pictures of the freezing while flying soap bubbles, and it was the 1,000,000th photograph to catch the very moment the bubble is exploding. And this is like, I really like this photograph because it's kind of philosophical as well for me, because it's this moment, and the moment is gone.
Yeah, but you captured it. So we can enjoy it.
Yes.
It's really amazing. So you mentioned in your kind of local area, a lot of people craft. Could I ask, like, what is the main? What do you think is the kind of draw to that? Why do people? Is that to do with the kind of climate? Would you say, or what there is? Other things to do around.
I think the knitting is, of course, the traditional. It comes from the weather. The climate it can be very hard, and this knitted, the classical Nordic knitted mittens and sweaters and hats, they are quite popular here. So you always, when you go to the supermarket, you always see people in this classic Nordic sweater. It's quite common. And then you know that it's like a community thing. The people who are crafting, they know that this is a handmade sweater. So you look at each other. I know this is handmade.
Each other out, see what people have made.
That's pretty nice. And also with hats, and I think it's also it's a traditional thing, but it's also a modern thing, because people are going back to the traditional work and learn to find these things really good. As I mentioned, the yarn shops, they're really popular. They're still small yarn shops in almost every little town, and these are meeting places as well for the older people, but also for the younger people.
I love that. It's a real kind of community kind of focal point, isn't it? To have those places to go to. That's fantastic.
I used to compare when I was skateboarding a lot, and you meet at the skate shops, at the skateboard shops, and it's not only about skateboarding; it's about lifestyle. It's about you chat, you socialize there. Yeah, and it's like the same in the yarn shops. The typical target group is a little older and a little different, but it's basically the same thing. It's basically a meeting place. And every yarn shop I know has an enormous list of patterns, just like a knitting or crochet library.
Fantastic! So a really great resource for Fantastic.
Yes.
And so with stuff like that, having that as a place for community, could you actually kind of elaborate a little more on your experience with let's say the knit and crochet community? Of course, that can be in person, but also online, I'm sure, via social media. I'm sure that opens up a lot of doors, doesn't it?
Yes, of course. And I think, as I said, I just can repeat myself that it's a big source of knowledge and of art and of friendship and of community. And this is really, I think that's the greatest part of the crafting thing, is that you can come together, that you can exchange knowledge, but also some you share some values. I think it's also kind of that most of the crafting community is very kind. It's a very kind community. It's very, very rare that you hear hard words or the people are pushing each other to new heights, and that's really a good thing, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Especially in special times like these, where it's the social or the physical contact is limited, has to be limited.
Yeah,
and I think we can try to get together in other forms. It's not social distancing; it's more physical distancing. So
yeah,
I think
of course.
But the social media, I know that I have critics about the social media as well. Of course, it's a how to explain that. It has disadvantages, but I think also, especially in the crafting community, it's an amazing community.
I love that. You mentioned the community and how you felt that was a great thing during the pandemic, of course. Could I ask, in terms of the pandemic, without going into the pandemic, of course, in terms of that, did your crafting design work, did anything shift for you during the pandemic period? Did you crochet more, knit more, design more, or?
I have my like creative phases, and it's not really connected to the pandemic. Nowadays, I work. I have a day job. I'm a social worker, and I work mostly at home right now. I have to drive to the office like 1 or 2 days a week. It's a 40 kilometer drive. And it's also, I think this calmness of the environment to drive 40 kilometers. It has something to do with creativity, and the calmness, grows creativity. And I miss this a lot. Not during winter, because you have to be very focused on the road. But during summer, it's really inspiring, and that's why But I have more time to actually knit and craft and crochet, and that's a advantage.
Yeah, of course.
Because you sit a lot in online meetings and things like that, and under the table you always have your crochet hook or knitting needles.
That's so funny.
And nobody knows. No, I have to say that I have a very supporting boss, and he knows that I'm very crafty, and that I need to do something with my restless hands. I have to keep them busy, to be focused on my job.
Fantastic. So they really work hand in hand, actually. Your creative crochet knit designs also support your work life as well, as probably your work life probably supports your designs. Yes. Brilliant. That's so it's really interesting to hear stuff like that. And I also love the kind of bit of fun you just had about, in a Zoom meeting, but maybe like crocheting under the table or something. I think that's kind of hilarious, actually.
But I think that's really interesting point. I have a colleague, a really very, very skilled woman who is in a high position in my municipality. I work for the municipality as a social worker, and she's a fantastic knitter and crafter. And she told me that during when she was at the university, it was not allowed to knit or to craft, because people were thinking that if you're crafting, you're not focused on the topic, on the studying. And this has really changed. I think it has really changed, and because people notice that you can be focused on both ends. It's a plus. It's a win-win. And when I started to craft during meetings, it's always like, oh, he's not focused. But people realize that it's multitasking, and it's totally.
Yeah. Wow, I just love that. That's kind of inspiring, and who knows, maybe that's something that branches out into the bigger world, so that people start doing things like crafting within workspace, and
it has an effect in my work group, because at the very, very beginning I was like, is it okay to craft? And I started to do it, and then another girl came with the knitting needles, and then another one came with it. So basically in our work meetings, we have 4 or 5 people who are knitting and crochet. So that's
fantastic.
Really
wow.
cool.
Really inspiring. Martin, of course, one of the things that I did want to talk to you about today was inspiration and creativity.
Yes.
So I would love actually to ask you a few questions around what inspires you, because I know having spoken to you a few times, I know that you're living in a very beautiful part of the world, and I know that does inspire you. Would you mind just to explain a little bit about your inspirations and how they tie up with what you do?
I think that, as I said, the biggest inspiration is, of course, people who you're talking with, but I think also the environment you choose to live in. If you have the possibility to choose your environment, is really important. And for me, it's not about a place or something, because this is really personal. What calms you down? What gives you the freedom of mind to be creative, to have your thoughts about creativity. And for me, it has become nature, because we chose to live in the woods. It's the end of the street here, and it's very, very calm. We don't hear any cars. We don't hear any noise beside the birds singing and some moose who is chasing another moose maybe, but it's really very, very down to earth. And that gives me, it's just, as I said, it's very personal. This gives me the calmness I think I need to be creative.
Yeah.
On the other side, I'm a boy born in the big city, so I'm used to the big city life as well, which maybe grows another form of creativity, because you have all this, you have all these influences all the time. You have stimulation all the time in the big city. I think that's the main point. It's a very personal thing, how you find your creativity. For me, it's right now it's nature. And
love that.
It's like when the Northern Lights, for example, you get yourself in my opinion, right perspective to the universe, because this is so out of this world. This is so amazing when the Northern Lights come up, and they're not predictable. They do whatever they want. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. And when you stand under the Northern Lights, you can get a bigger perspective of life.
I know as well. So your photography is a massive kind of aspect of your let's say your Instagram work, but you have your blog as well. Mm-hmm. Can I ask really quick? So your blog, your tagline is "This is not a crochet blog." Will you explain that like a little because I just love it. It's kind of rebellious.
Because I don't know. It may be kind of rebellious. But I think it's the main reason why I started the blog was of course it was crochet. It was like to find a platform to show my work and also show my patterns and give the people the possibility to download patterns and have the patterns and things like that. But then I thought I want to show more than just craft, because there's some. I'm really not judging. Everyone is doing their stuff. But I thought that it's a good thing to combine this stuff, the photography and the crochet, and maybe it's knitting, and maybe it's another craft, and I think we humans, we are more than just like showing one part of us, because I know how I'm working now. It's I'm very deep into craft, and I don't think that I'm going to finish crafting till the end of my life. But you never know. Maybe I will start playing guitar next year.
Yeah.
What will be my guitar blog? I don't know. And that's why I think the tagline is more like, this is my it's my personal blog, and it's the same with my Instagram. It's the only Instagram I have. It started as my personal Instagram, where I wanted to show my pictures and my craft for people I personally knew at the beginning.
Yeah,
I had it open, and then I had this constant growing of the community, and it still is. I do basically what I want there, and if people are feeling offended by looking at the moves, it's totally okay. It's totally okay for me to unfollow, to not be inspired.
Yeah, it's your space. Yeah,
and this is my space, and I want to show a range of different things I do.
I love that. I think that's a really nice way to approach blogging, social media, and sharing that you don't have to necessarily appeal to everyone, but claim your little corner of the web, the blogiverse, or whatever you want to call it, and just have that as your space. And if it appeals to you and doesn't harm anyone, then let it be your space.
Exactly. And as I said, everyone has to find their own path in life.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the natural way to do it, as this is my thing, my space, and the thing I want to show people, and
I love that.
That's basically it.
That's amazing. So Martin, you talk about your online spaces. Now I know you have been busy with your camera, and very kindly are going to show the viewers your actual space, the place you live, what inspires you. Could you explain a little bit more about what we're about to see? I
just try to film a little around the house and the place I live in, and the places I roam to get inspiration. I'm not a great filmer. I'm not a movie maker, but I hope it gives people the idea what I'm doing and where I'm living, and share a little bit of this wonderful place. And show the people, show the viewers where am I, where I am, and as I said before, that's not necessarily inspirational for anybody else, but this is how I find my calmness and how I develop and grow as a crafter, as
an artist.
Yes, also, I think this is also a good and necessary discussion, how crafting and art is going together, and how they can combine, and how they can develop together. Is it art? Is it craft? What's the difference? Is it that's a really important question. Especially in a woman-dominated area, because it's often like look down and it's craft. It's knitting. Yes, but it's really an art form. I think 100%. I think it is, but I think this discussion is necessary to have.
Well, do you know what, Martin? I think we should get you back for another chat, and we have that discussion. We could open it up to a big panel of people, but that's definitely going to be a longer discussion, isn't it?
Yes.
But for now, why don't we jump in and have a little look at your video? I would love to see where you live. Yes. Let's take a look.
Yes.
I'm going to take a little walk into the woods right now. And this is really untouched nature, untouched forest. And this is really a special place to me. I come here often with the girls. We take a little walk. And as I said, this is the season nature awakes. And it's really, really exciting because the first flowers are coming out. And you always have to be a little careful because there are wild animals. That's why I'm trying to talk very, very quietly. This forest has to grow and is mostly untouched for more than 100 years. And that's what I really, really appreciate and like. And sometimes you can meet a moose or a fox or the big great grey owl or troll. Hi, this is Martin. I'm on my lunch break right now, and here in the back you can see my office. Gorgeous old house which is in the municipality of Berg here in Sweden. And when we're talking about inspiration, it's not only nature and the surroundings, but it's also people. And I want to show you what I do most of the time at my lunch breaks when I'm working here in Svenstavik. But what I wanted to show you is it's like 100 or 200 meters to the local yarn shop. And this is where I spend my lunch breaks. Hey! So this is the place where I hang around during my lunch break, getting a lot of influences and inspiration, hanging in the local yarn shop, talking with the owner Stina, who is there in the back, talking to a customer. So we're on the porch right now. I'm going to show you my favorite place. I'm not going to lie about this. It's still a little bit too cold for outdoor crochet season. But this is my rocking chair, my brother-in-law, which is a very, very skilled woodworker, did. And this is the place I like to sit and crochet, especially in the summertime. It's still a little bit too cold. And this is the view I have when I can sit down and work and craft. And this is a big inspiration. If you look down the field, waiting for the moose to show up in the evening. I'm going to show you another part of my house and big inspiration. This is the traditional Swedish sauna, or bastu as we call it. I'm gonna take you in. All wood, natural materials. We heat it with wood as well. No electricity. I'm going to take you with me on a little walk around my house. I'm going to show you the next spot I really like to be when I'm crafting. It's the main house in the back, and the garage, and everything is located right near the woods, and now we are coming to the cabin. If we have guests, they can sleep here. We just built it this year. I wanted it to be my craft room, my craft cabin, but you know, family decisions. I couldn't occupy it all by myself. You can see there's a bed and a little table where you can sit and do your thing. I'm going to try to show you another favorite spot when I'm going down the field right now and into the woods. There's still a little snow, so I have to be careful to not slip. Hi, I thought I'd take you with me on a little walk through the woods. In the back you can see the road to my house, and this is kind of my daily evening routine. The road leads right through the woods. It's always a little exciting because there are wild animals here. If we are quiet, we might hear some birds singing. I'm lucky to see some moose or deer or a fox. And if we are very, very lucky or very unlucky, we'll also see a bear. There are bears around, and I'm not quite sure if they are already awake or if they're still in their hibernation, I think the right word. And this is very, very calming in my opinion. This is really the thing you should do after a stressful day at work. I just saw that there are 3 deer standing on the field. They might run away as soon as we come closer. We'll see. They will be. Now they're running away. You might see them in the back. If they're moving towards the woods, running away. Because they're getting a little bit scared if you get too close.
Martin, that was so lovely to see where you live, and like I've dreamt of where you live, but to actually see it was just wonderful. So thank you so much for taking the time to get out there with your camera and show us a little snippet of your life. I'm sure people will really, really love that. So yeah, having a space online that is really your own, I think is massively important. And you've certainly done that with your blog. Do you feel that maybe opening it up to your photography, to your knitting, to your designing, do you think that then opens it up to the different kind of audience that you'll have? Do you think non-crocheters might pick up crochet because of your photography, or?
Yes, I think I hope so. I don't know. I don't know how inspiring my blog is or how inspiring my Instagram is. I'm not thinking about this a lot, but I think that's definitely happening. That photographers who are following me because of my nature photography or personal friends start to talk about craft, and vice versa. That people who are crafting find this photography very, very appealing or good, or I don't know. And I know that people started with this, especially with the flying, freezing soap operas, that they tried to do it and they tried to take pictures and keep asking, what's the weather like, and how is it, when do we expect the next
Oh, wow.
and it's also so with the non-crafting community that I might have a chance to reach a broader audience with the non-crochet, non-crafting blog, and also with the Instagram and what I'm doing basically, because I think it's good to talk loud about crafting, to lift it up a little bit, because it's for many people it's unnatural. So it's nothing special, and it's like, it's also this some kind of the Swedish way. We don't talk about it. It's nothing special. We just do it, and then they show you the most amazing artistic blanket. No, I did this like 1 year ago. So you have to talk about it. You have to let people know what you are doing. If you if you want to, because you might amaze people with your skills. And I think that's
amazing.
That's an important. It's an important thing when we talk about craft and art. And is it art? Is it not art? Is it just a hobby? I think the borders are really not settled yet.
Yeah,
I had this amazing conversation with a older lady, and she showed me like 200 pairs of mittens in her closet. I'm just knitting, and I think that's amazing. That's so much work and love you put in your mittens. Which all of my family has got one pair, and now I don't know what and I think we have a chance here to talk about things and inspire other people. I'm not saying that everyone has to be a knitter or a crafter, but I think people need to find their own path and their own love,
form of expression as well, isn't it? Like a different way to express yourself, or connect with something you're joyful about.
Exactly, and I think that this is a matter of mental health. I really think we are sliding into a different kind of discussion again. But I really think it's a state of mind to have something which keeps you sane in life.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. It can be
craft, it can be other forms of expression, and
which is exactly like bringing it all back to I guess the initial kind of question. I guess that's why as well your blog is so inspiring, that there's photography, there's your other hobbies, there's your knitting, there's your designing, there's your family life, so it's, for those of you that haven't checked out Martin's blog, if you're not a knitter or a crocheter, still check it out. I promise there's going to be stuff in there for you, so have a look. Before we go though, I do just need to ask you, what is next for you? Because I know you've been so busy. You've recently just finished your MAL. Would you mind to explain that, maybe for those watching that don't know what a MAL is, what that was, and how did it go?
Yes, I think it was an amazing experience to work with all these highly professional people at Scheepjes. It's a make-along. We launched some pattern details and it's called the Get Connected MAL. It's a make-along. We launch the pattern details week by week and try to craft together. And I think it was really amazing how the crafting community shared experiences, shared their color work, and did just amazing stuff. I have the rep, which was part of the Connected MAL here.
Oh, fantastic!
And it's like I try to show it because it appears it's quite big. A few people.
That is so beautiful.
And it was a cushion as well, so it's a smaller version of this pattern. and it was really an amazing experience to get the community together and crochet one of my patterns. And this was really
fantastic.
Great. It was quite intense, I have to say, but it was really good.
I bet it was. Was it a lot of work for you in terms of? I imagine preparing for it, designing it was a lot of work. Like, what is your kind of time frame for stuff like that?
A lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's hard to describe because I love what I do. So it's not hard work, but I want to do it good. If you know that a lot of people who are doing the same thing and they're doing your pattern, you want your pattern to be good. You want to be there for the people, and that's quite a little pressure. But you get so much love back of the community that it's worth every minute, I can say.
That's fantastic. Did you get to interact with people much throughout the mail in terms of like on yes. social media and stuff? Did you pop on social media? And
yes, I really tried during the make along to be on these platforms on the Scheepjes in the Scheepjes groups on Facebook to interact to lift each other and to be there for each other in times like these, to share the same interests. And this was a great experience. Really great experience.
Amazing. I mean, it looked like a massive success. So really, congratulations on that front. What's coming up for you next? You got any dishy secrets you can share with us?
There are many things going on. Knitting and crochet, of course. 21 is I think it's my year of cooperations, because I really like to share things and cooperate with creative minds. And there are a few things coming up with other people who are in the crafting community, knitters and other crafters. It's not only yarn work; it's also other people who are involved. And I hope that this is working, because it's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of, when do you have time, when I have, when do you. So this is the main challenge in all these things, to have to coordinate with other people who are occupied with other stuff and to find your time together. But that's really something I want to develop, to work together on patterns, to work together in terms of help each other out in different crafts. I think this is really an interesting thing you can develop.
Fantastic. So it sounds like you've got lots coming up, and I really can't wait to see what is next for you and what you release out into the crafting world. Martin, as a final kind of thought, I just would love it if you could just share, for anyone that's interested in potentially picking up a crochet hook, picking up the knitting needles, any advice for someone that's brand new to the craft?
My advice is always give it a go, and choose your first patterns well. Don't set the level too high. Learn the basics. It is some kind of training and some kind of workout in the first part of your journey, but it's so worth it. If you know your single crochets, your double crochets, your trebles, you will have it so much easier in the future, and you can do amazing things if the basics are stable.
So learn your basics.
learn your basics. I don't know. It's not the most fun part, but it's the same as we talked about other crafts or other art forms. It's the same when you're learning an instrument. If you're learning. When you're learning to play the guitar, you can't play a symphony if you don't know you don't know the basic chords.
So true. A great advice, really is. Martin, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. It was a thrill, as always, to see your beautiful photography and your gorgeous designs, and just wonderful to chat to you, as always.
My pleasure, man.
Hopefully we'll have lots more chats like this coming up. But for those of you that are new to Martin or new to Scheepjes, you can follow Martin over at his blog or on Instagram, and you can certainly check out the Scheepjes website at www.scheepjes.com, or follow Scheepjes on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks for joining us today, and see you all crafting soon.